right, so I'm not going to make them all this long, but I've got to go to the grocery store later, so I think I may as well take you with me. Why not? Because, I've got a bunch of food at my, school apartment, but now that I'm home for the weekend, I can't just eat normal bread, or at least I don't want to. Plus, we don't have a ton of proteins other than just eggs, but it's a perfect breakfast. So this is pre-cardio. I've already taken all my vitamins and my caffeine pill. So, pre-cardio and just in the morning in general, I want to do some caffeine just to kind of wake up, morning coffee style. But I guess there is no but. That's just how I do it. Oh yeah, no. So this is pre-cardio. So let me actually check the macros. I just plugged them all in. It's just 5 egg whites and 1 whole egg. Just because, come on, you don't want to miss out on the omega-3s in the yolk. But I do not want, 5 whole eggs for breakfast. Because then that's going to be 25 grams of fat in one meal. That's half the fat I have, allocated for the whole day. But this is going to end up being, 20 grams of protein, 5 grams of fat. And then I just poured in, I don't know, a bunch of this salsa. I'm not inclined to believe, well, I guess it does have carbs in. I'll plug them in. 4 grams of carbs. Yeah, come on, track everything. You get the drill. But this will be pre-cardio. So 20 grams of protein, that doesn't feel like that much in one meal. Which, you'd be right, but I don't really want to eat a ton of food before I go do cardio. And just in general, I don't want to eat a ton of food in the morning anyway. I've only got so much food for the whole day. I want to spread it out pretty evenly and maybe have it be a little bit more biased towards nighttime. Just because that is when you're going to be most prone to to potentially, want to go over your calorie limit on a cut. Because nobody wants to go to bed hungry. That just sucks. So for me, it ends up being easier to be a little bit more sparse with the calories in the beginning of the day, then eat a little bit more towards and after training. And honestly, if I'm good throughout the day, I can go to bed right after like a 800 calorie meal. A big ass turkey sub from Subway with all of my lettuce, mustard, mayonnaise, whatever. That's 600 calories. I can go to bed feeling pretty full after eating a whole fucking sub. Or, whatever. I can still eat like my ramen and steak or like go get like a fucking sandwich somewhere. But I'm a little bit more careful about what I'm eating purely due to the fact that I don't want to eat anything that has a lot of calories but isn't going to make me feel full. The allure of having like a treat, like candies or whatever, it's just not worth the fact that I'm going to be hungrier later on. So if you got trouble with that, that can make dieting down much more difficult for you instead of bulking up. I'd say I've got a pretty similarly, well, I don't want to say easy, but let's just say kind of balanced, well, what am I even trying to say here? Like for me, it's not that hard for me to bulk up, and I'm not struggling when I'm dieting down either. But some people who are just, naturally maybe have a little bit higher body fat, they've got a higher appetite. For them, bulking up's no problem. Putting on weight, it's like nothing. But for them to go even into a slight deficit, they're going to be starving. And vice versa, the quote-unquote hard gainer, for him, staying lean is no problem. He can eat it he can feel like he eats a lot in one day and still be lean just because he's not going over his calorie maintenance. Or maybe he's just barely at maintenance. So you've got to be able to look at your own state of affairs and just kind of be able to understand that for you, maybe getting lean is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And vice versa, getting heavier is also going to require a bit more effort. So this isn't groundbreaking information. It's just kind of a little bit of an observation. But I'm going to finish this. I'm going to go do my 30 minutes of seated cardio on the bike. And we can do a I think let's just jump straight to the pumpless pose down, and then we go to Meyer on the way back, because I do need a variety of things. Check this guy out. All right, let's go. All right, so my typical post-cardio pose down spot, like the yoga room, it's getting re-floored, so they fucked me. So this is like a single stall fucking locker room. Feels kind of weird being in here, but whatever. The lighting's probably the best that there is, other than the spots I usually go. But let's see what we're looking like. Yeah, so holy shit, 230. 230.2, I think. I forget that last little decimal place. Yeah, that is fucking light. So really, I just didn't drink a lot of water last night. So I attribute that weight drop purely due to slight dehydration. Just because I literally had, 27, no, I think I had 2850 calories last night. So an extra 350 than normal. So again, just going to show how, your weight fluctuations aren't always just based on food. Like looking at your day by day change, it's not really telling you much. Now, week to week, you want to see some patterns, but day by day, it's, fucking like this. So let's run through a couple poses and then we can get in the car and head over to Meyer. Oh. Oh. All right. I gotta put a new fucking shirt on because that one is drenched. Let's get out of here. All right, and with that, my little 30 minutes of daily cardio is complete. Now, I will say this, I kind of bring this up a lot with cardio. It's certainly going to be in your best interest and be a worthwhile investment to get like a cardio bike or like a treadmill for the house. If you don't want to just do your cardio outside, that's the classic rebuttal for me saying that I like, well, not even, I guess really just kind of the counter opinion, because I like doing that seated bike for my cardio, and I'll get comments, oh, why don't you just go run outside, man, for your cardio? You can just do a home workout of jumping jacks. You very well could, I just don't want to. I find the seated bike to be a much more efficient method, because I can break a big ass sweat, but I also get to sit and play on my phone the whole time, so it's perfect. I'm not endorsing cardio because it's fun. I don't think it's fun at all. I think it's a little bit of a hassle. But the benefits you get out of it are certainly worthwhile. And I'll try to make it as enjoyable as possible by way of keeping my hands free so I can, play games or watch videos or whatever. It's not that bad. But yeah, if you don't want to drive to the gym in the morning, every fucking morning, or like stop there on your way to like school or work, and then you got to bring a change of clothes. I will admit it is a bit of a hassle when you have to add it into your lifestyle. Just having a little something at the house is the best method. I've got my little old seated bike that I got from my grandparents' basement, and that thing has been working wonders. I haven't been using it so much now though, because I don't have any early classes, so I can still go to the school's rec center. But also, that my school's gym is like 1 second away from my house. I just hop on the bike, pedal over. Well, actually, no, I don't pedal over. Upgraded to the electric bike this year. That is fucking sick and set up. I hate pedaling. It's like I'm always hyping up doing your cardio, but I don't want to pedal an actual bike. I want to do my cardio intentionally, break a sweat all at once. I'm not into this whole tracking your steps. That's just not me. That's just not freaking me. But yeah, if you get a little machine at the house, I was just doing a treadmill that we had in the basement at first. Just hop on there in the morning, wake up, drink your little coffee or anything else. Um, when I hype up caffeine pills, they are most certainly a more cost-effective way compared to like coffee or Monsters. But when I was driving back home from school, I was kind of tired, so I got a Monster too, just because I was sleepy. I didn't want to have my head bobbing when I was driving. It's been a while since I had one. It was the watermelon, like 0-calorie one. It's pretty fucking good. So as a treat, I do like it as a little treat. But if I just want the caffeine, I'll just keep a little packet of or a little bottle of Hostile Pure caffeine capsules on me at all times, or at least next to all my vitamins at the house. So yeah, if you're into this kind of shit for the long term, like you're going to be lifting for more than a year, which ideally you should be, then, or maybe you have been lifting for a while, doing your cardio consistently. That's a very rare state, apparently, as I've come to find out with you guys. But if that's you and you've been, driving 20 minutes to the gym and then back to do your cardio, plus, that maybe probably an extra 20 minutes of like having to get, walk to your car, out of the car, have those little transitionary periods between getting places, getting a little bike at the house, as much of a gym obsessed act. What am I trying to say here? As much of a meathead that it's going to make you look, having a little cardio bike in the kitchen, it's definitely going to be worth it. So that is all I got to say about that. I was thinking about kind of saying what I was going to get when I went to the grocery store, but I guess that would kind of spoil it. So instead of talking about it, let's just cut to what I assume to be I don't know what I'll get first. I guess we'll find out. All right, we'll kind of just do a little bit of fucking jump cuts between, whatever else I have to get. So I'm thinking a solid opener is fucking eggs. So, this is only food for 2 days. I'll just get 2 dozen. Actually, I think I lied. There we go. 3 dozen will be a little better. Zero sugar A&W root beer. Not that there's a specific dieting purpose for like 0-calorie drinks, apart from the fact that it's just kind of a sweet treat. The more calorie, I don't want to say calorie safe, but let's just say calorie effective options that you can go for. We're about to get into a couple more, but like, low sugar barbecue sauce, diet soda, whatever. Like, this stuff adds up. You got to think, if you're drinking 3 sodas, let's say you drink 3 Cokes in one day. That's 120 carbs. Do you really need 120 grams of carbs? Certainly not if you're dieting. But eggs, soda, let's cut to what's next. It's actually a little bit far from where we're at. I don't think we have to turn this into a whole one-shot podcast. Yep. Now, usually I'd want to go for the fat-free cheese, but I do just love like the single Americans. So certainly not what I would call my most diet-friendly like snack choice, but what are you gonna do? So I've got to be a little bit meticulous here in the fucking cheese aisle, because I'm looking for, there's literally 100 fucking things of cheese right here, and I need 2 of them in a very specific style. And they know just how to hide them too. Oh, spotted. There we go. I'll always get the Kraft fat-free mozzarella and cheddar. So if I make an omelet with, let's say, 12 egg whites, and I throw 3 pieces of that American cheese on the inside of it, and then fold it over, that's an extra 150 grams of calories. That's an extra 150 calories. And it's coming from fats and carbs. And I'm not really getting anything out of it. For me to eat some keto bread as a carb source, I'm going to be pretty full for not that many carbs. But for me to take in, I think like 12 grams of fat from that cheese, and then 6 grams of carbs, it's not very filling at all. So the fat-free cheese, The macros are actually kind of freaking buffed for a whole, well, 28 grams, 9 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, 0 fat. I guess that's obvious from the name of it. But, you know, all these little things, I can't emphasize enough how much they add up to changing the amount of calories that you get in per day without having to feel like you're just, you know, starving yourself. So cutting straight into another classic. Live carb smart buns. Honestly, I've got to eat today, tomorrow, and the next day. I'm going to get 3 of these. So they're fucking, well, they're not even that much more expensive than normal. A normal pack of the hamburger buns is like $3.50. These are $5, so a little more, but the macro difference is insane. So let's just look at this, just random ass hamburger buns. You're cutting it down from 20 grams of carbs to 3. I think that's a no-brainer in a dieting context, especially. So honestly, we're getting close to the end. I have a ton of food at a, well, I say home, at my parents' house. So it's not like I have to restock a whole kitchen right now. I'm just getting some things that I need. So I've been doing ground beef, but honestly, I've kind of been liking steaks too. So I think I'll get a little bit of each. And again, I'm still looking for the lowest calorie source possible. So for ground beef first, I'm not going to grab 80-20. That's insane. This is probably the leanest I've ever seen. Just 96% lean. So, I mean, not nothing. But when you drain it out, I mean, it's pretty much close. Like, let me look actually. So I'll just cook the whole thing at once and kind of like meal prep it. But this whole thing, it says 18 grams of fat. But when I cook it up and I, you know, pour it into a strainer to drain the fat out, I've got to get at least half of it out. So I only counted as like 9 grams for the whole thing. That's not my most exact aspect, but you drain out a ton of fat when you drain off the ground beef. So now I think I'll just get some kind of steak. Oof. I was really getting into the sirloins at the end of the bulk, but they're just so fatty. I mean, there's no point for me to eat one now. I don't know if it even shows the, does it, no, I'm not sirloin. What am I talking about? I was talking about ribeye. Yeah, I was doing a ton of ribeyes, but like, it's like 30 grams of fat each. You can just taste how rich they are. So I've been leaning a little bit more so towards top rounds. Oh yeah, this looks pretty good. 1 pound, $10. Yeah, a little something, you know. But I guess it doesn't show the macros. So this is the kind of food where I'm not going to be able to just look at the back and read off the macros like per pound or per ounce or per whatever. I'm actually going to have to go online and look up like, you know, top round so-and-so macros. Usually the website I'll go to the most is like Calorie King, and you'll be able to plug in like the exact weight of it. It gets kind of weird too, because when you do that, you have to like look up and make sure that you're using the right measurement. Because I can look up the weight, like, you know, 4 ounces of the top round steak, whatever, but you got to make sure when you do that, that it says, you know, cooked or raw. Usually, for the most part, I like to measure it out raw, just because you never, like, let's say you cooked it really well done and it's super dry, a ton of water came out of it. I mean, you're just adding complexity to the aspect of weighing it. So I think weighing it in its raw state is probably your best method. So buns, eggs, fat-free cheese as well as normal, ground beef, a steak. Oh yeah. So when I make the egg whites, just plain eggs, it's kind of bland. I mean, it's not the most interesting, I don't want to be a food critic, but say mouthfeel. So instead of just making plain eggs, what I'll do is I'll get like a pre-chopped bag of salad. You know, I'm not going to use the dressing, of course, but I'll just pour the lettuce kind of into the egg whites and kind of mix it up. Just because once it gets cooked, I mean, what am I looking for? Like once it gets cooked, it kind of gives the Gives the eggs a little bit more texture. Which one of these looks good? Yeah. Just something like this. Perfect. So honestly, that's all I fucking need. Well, let me think for like one more second. But obviously, there's no donuts. There's no cereal. I was walking by the chocolate milk. I was getting a little bit distracted. But, you know, that's just how you gotta do it. You gotta take the bulk with the cut. So, I'm definitely starting to feel the calorie deficit. I'd give it maybe, no, not even. I say we got 4 weeks left. 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks of trimming down, and then we can start bulking up again. I'm getting a little bit too excited. I need to not jump the gun on it. But that's pretty much about all I'm gonna get for the next couple of days. I'm gonna eat different kind of food at home, but you know, this is just stuff that I'm getting from me specifically. If your mom's getting all your groceries, you know, if you're in my high school kid demographic, then just give her a little grocery list. Tell her you want some this, that, or the other. Ideally, she'll get it for you. That'll be perfect. It gets kind of funky tracking all your macros and stuff if you're only eating like food that your mom cooks. So I mean, ever since I started lifting, even early high school, the house kind of transitioned from like family meals to everybody kind of doing their own stuff, just because we all kind of, you know, eat our own way. But I think that's it. Let's cut to the car talk for our arms. 4 letters, 2 muscles, arms, freaking arms. So this is going to be a pretty quick lift, because all it's going to be is 8 sets of push downs and then 8 sets of curls. Now, what variety those are, it's to be determined. You know, I'm not even exactly sure now, even though I'm about to go do the workout, and I'm the one who plans it all. So very much so up to, not up to chance, because like, let's say I just walk in there and for whatever reason, you know, the straight bar on the cable attachment catches my eye and I'm like, oh, let's do some straight bar push downs. You know, for the most part with tries and buys, all the movements are pretty much the same style. Like, I'll talk about chest sometimes, and back as well too, and legs. Whole lot of muscles. You know, you can do movements that are loaded in very different ways. It's not groundbreaking, but let me explain. Like with chest, obviously you have pressing movements, but then you also have flies. Very different methods of execution. And they're going to feel different too. Same thing with legs. You've got pressing, or well, quads mainly. You've got pressing, and then you've got, you know, leg extensions. And you also have like, you know, flat-footed style pressing, or, you know, on your toes sissy squat style. So all sorts of different ways. But with arms, same with shoulders. I mean, I find that all you're really doing is going from, for biceps, here to here with load, and for triceps, here to here with load. Now obviously different movements are going to feel a little bit different, and you can do the sets in different ways. Like for me, when I jump on dumbbell curls as the first movement for biceps, just the nature of the movement and the fact that it's a very robust execution. Like you can go pretty heavy on dumbbell curls. That kind of makes me want to go heavy on dumbbell curls. But with something like preachers or some machine curls, I may be inclined to go a little bit lighter and focus more so on the squeezing aspect of the reps. Because on two sides of the spectrum, right, you've got the sets that are kind of brutish. You're really just moving the weight around, doing some damage, tons of tension. And then you've got much slower, controlled, maybe you pause it at the top for a second and really squeeze, and you're going for more of a burn. I think doing an even mix of both of those should result in some solid stimulation. And then, for the most part, I want to do that heavy stuff first, because if I'm trying to load my muscle with as much tension as possible, I'd want to do it when I'm fresh so I can have as much strength, which would let me do a set, which would be as heavy as possible. So that's why usually I'd want to do heavy stuff first. But sometimes, just to change it up, I like doing a couple light sets first, like I did with back yesterday. Yeah, I can remember which day. But, you get what I'm saying. But with arms, unlike chests or quads, where you can go back and forth between pressing and flies or leg extensions and squatting, stuff like that, all of tries is just push downs. And even doing dips, you're basically just doing a push down. It's just the handles are in kind of a weirder position. So with arms, it's kind of your best bet to just do whatever movement feels best for you, as long as you can feel like you're getting a full-on pump, right? Like if I do a set of these heavy straight bar push downs, and I feel like I'm hitting pretty much my whole fucking tricep, then if it feels really good, I don't mind sitting there for all 8 sets, and I could just do that one movement. And with buys, let's say I do one set of dumbbell curls heavy, and I think to myself, okay, I don't really want to do another one of those, let's do something else. Then I could move on and do literally 8 completely different kinds of curls. Like I could do a set of dumbbell, and then a set of straight bar cable curls, and then a set of dumbbell preachers, then a set of cable preachers, or no, then a set of easy bar preachers. You get what I'm saying? I mean, no matter how many movements I do, as long as those 8 sets are movements which are hitting my biceps, then that's 8 sets for buys, and I'll probably be fully pumped at the end of it. So there's no one way to go about all this shit. You just do the amount of volume that feels right for you. I'd say for a single muscle group, by the time you've done around 9-ish sets, or like maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depends on, just whatever you like. It's not that specific. And if you do all your sets hard and you're fully pumped, I think you achieved the training part perfectly. Then you can go home and either eat a lot of food to recover, or try to eat less food and just use the workout to maintain your muscle while you trim down. So let's stop talking about it and just get started with whatever the first tricep movement's going to be. Getting back to basics. I'm thinking just probably 2 or 3 sets of these really heavy push downs should be perfect. So one normal cable stack is just not enough weight anymore. But if I have access to 2 at once, that's pretty good. So nothing crazy with the reps, no drop sets or pause reps or anything weird. Just gonna try to squeeze hard at the bottom, then go back up to the top, right? Pretty basic. But once I get kind of, fatigued and I'm only doing a little bit of partials, I don't mind pumping out like 10 reps that just look like this, if it's at the end of the set. Obviously the ones at the beginning, I want to be full range of motion. But yeah, probably 2 or 3. Two more. Okay. Yeah, just one more. Okay. Let's go do a little bit of a D-handle style set. I'll explain in a moment. But those felt pretty fucking good. Definitely destroyed the triceps already. All right, so this will be kind of not just a standard push down set, but not really like the rope either. It's sort of a complicated in between. Because since the D handles are pretty long, I'm still getting that like squeeze factor from pulling the handles apart like you do with a rope. But I'm kind of got this underhand grip going that transitions almost into an overhand at the bottom. I mean, you'll just have to see it to see what I'm talking about, but pretty much fully fatigues my triceps. At least one, maybe two if it feels good. Actually, yeah, two more of those would be great. And these ones I'm trying to be a little bit more strict with the form. Like with those bent over ones, or with those straight bar pushdowns, I was kind of leaning forward, getting some force reps out. Whereas here, I'm really just trying to go until my triceps can't move the handles anymore. Okay. All right. Oh. Let's do one set of machine dips and see how I feel. If I want to do two, I'll do two, but I'm not really sure dips are going to feel awesome. But just after those three, I already feel like my triceps are approaching fully pumped. All right, keep going, keep going. Let me say some shit. Okay, so with this first set, I'm just thinking hit the stack, squeeze hard at the flex position, and that's really all there is to it. Actually, no, that's not even true. There's actually a lot more to it than that. When you're doing these machine dips, you got to try with all your might not to flex your pecs at all. Because just by nature of the movement, it would make sense for your body to want to use your pecs to help push the weight down, right? But I'm not trying to do this as a lower pec movement. I'm trying to do this as a tricep movement. So in my mind, I'm only trying to send signals to my triceps to straighten and relax. I'm not trying to flex like this, because that'll take your triceps almost totally out of it. Well, maybe not totally, but you know, I want my tris to be the main mover. You get the idea. Oh shit. All right, you know what? Fuck that. Like, that was a good set, but I don't want to finish with that. It felt good though. You know, you can do a set and not really like it, but have it still be effective. But no, let's finish with like the rope or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So I was thinking I was going to do the rope, but then I remembered this sort of cross body extension that I like. Now it takes two cables at once, so it's a little bit of a hassle. You know, like if it's busy, then it's kind of hard to get two cables at once. Get what I'm saying? But if you got access, I find this to be a very good, slow, controlled squeezing movement for tris. Nothing else to say. Let's just hit it. Very light, very light. I'm really just trying to squeeze. Okay, actually, a little bit heavier. There we go. There we go. Okay. Let's do some curls. Tries are done. So in terms of my bicep warm-up, of course I'm not going to jump straight up to the 75s, but I curled the 40s for a couple, did the 60s for a couple. And I mean, after doing all those pushdowns, my forearms are already warm. My whole rotator cuff area is pretty warm too. All I really need to expose to the weight is the buys. So after that, I'm ready to throw the 75s around. Obviously, I did a feeler rep with them. I feel pretty confident in my abilities. I'm going to use straps too, just because with heavy dumbbell curls, like once you're getting beyond 50 pounds for a legit set, just holding on to them and like flexing your forearms so they don't fall out of your hands, getting a lot of forearm work. And I mean, I'm trying to work my buys directly, not get some extra forearm work and waste my energy on them. If I want to hit forearms, I'll hit them directly. So with these, I'll throw some straps on. Okay, now that's it. Oh. I was getting ready to try that 10th rep. I should have done it, but I don't think I would have been able to. All right, let's hit the 75s one more time. Okay. All right. All right. That set was brought to you by Only Way Out, the Rock Lee hard style edit on YouTube. Let's move on to something else. Easy bar preachers will be perfect. I think this is the equivalent of 115, because I'm pretty sure the easy bar is 25, and then I got 45 on either side. This is probably about as heavy as I'd want to go. I mean, I wouldn't want to do preacher curls as my first movement, just because I'd go so heavy that, I mean, you know, heavy preacher, it's pretty freaky. But no, this will be good. So all I got to do now is get in the zone and squeeze hard. Okay. A little too heavy. Let's go lighter on the next one. that's enough here. Let's do some machine curls over there. That'll be good next. Oh, these are kind of giving me a weird feeling, not even in my wrists, like literally almost in the meat of my hand. Something about it that felt kind of funky. It was a good set, but I don't want to do any more. So with these curls as well, honestly, pretty similar to those Easy Bar preachers. There isn't really anything to think about in terms of their execution apart from the squeeze, just because the motion itself is kind of already locked in position. You know, it's almost like a Smith machine versus a free weight barbell bench, because here I don't have to focus on like any kind of stabilizers or anything. I'm just saying squeeze, you know what I'm saying? And then dumbbells too, a little bit. There's kind of a little more body motion. But with those preachers and these, I don't have to think about anything except for my buys and just fucking burn them up. So let's hit the stack. And probably only sit here for, maybe two. Honestly, probably two sets. Probably two sets. One more here. I'll do a drop set for this one. Okay. All right. I think let's just finish with some fucking dumbbell curls again. Definitely not the 75s though. But this felt sweet. I love this machine. So let's just do another set of normal ass curls, but instead of the 75s, we'll drop it down to 50. Okay. I think last set with the 40s and then we're done. We can check the pump. All right, so I was just going to do a straight set, but instead I think I'll do a little bit of a, well, it's not old school, but for me, it's old school. I haven't done this drop set for a while. So standard curls with the 40s. It'll look the exact same as what I just did, but I'll rack them and then grab the 20s. Actually, the 25s will be good here. And instead of doing normal curls right in front of me like this, I'll kind of hang them over the front of my quads this way and go kind of like, you know, so that my fucking, the butt of my hand is like a nipple height-ish. You know what I'm saying? It just feels different. I can't really explain it any better than that. It just feels different. And I know it's going to give me a sick pump. So let's finish this shit off and go check it out. Okay. Okay. All right. Given that was a bit of a lighter set, I was focusing more so on getting a good squeeze on top, especially with that first part of it. But dude, arms are fully pumped. I need to find somewhere to pose down. The cool little yoga rooms are getting refloored, so I can't go in there. Maybe right here is good, actually. I don't know. I'll figure it out in like a second. Well, a minute for me, but a second for you. All right, this is less than ideal. But what are you gonna fucking do? What are you gonna freaking do? So, let's just run through a couple basics. Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. It's whatever. All right, last one, then we get in the car. Okay. Yeah, let's get out of here. Solid ass pop. All right, and with that, arms is complete. Not the craziest lighting, but that pump check is fucking sick. So with arms, like when I look at my arms in a back double bi, when they're pumped, that's what I'm kind of going for. Like I want my arms to be as big as they are pumped all the time. Well, actually, I guess I want everything to be as big as it is pumped all the time. But in relation to like the rest of the build, when the arms are fully pumped, that's where I kind of feel like they flow nicely, you know, getting into real technical bodybuilding, whatever. But yeah, no, that 8 sets felt pretty good. My biceps were primed for a pump today. I could kind of tell the tri pump was a little lacking. And I mean, not for any particular reason I can point out specifically. You know, sometimes one muscle group is just on it and then one of them just, you know, isn't. Like I'll have days where the hamstring aspect of my, you know, my leg day is absolutely brutal. And like I'm feeling super strong, getting super pumped. And then the quad portion just is a little bit more lackluster in terms of its like, well, maybe not in terms of the sets. Like I could do the exact same weight and reps as the last quad workout, but it could just kind of feel a little bit off, you know. And then some days quads may feel like just every fucking exercise is blowing them up, and hamstrings might just be kind of like, you know, it's not like every pump is going to be absolutely perfect, but you know, you can increase your chances by getting a good night's rest, being very well hydrated, getting your carbs in pre-workout, taking a pre-workout, you know, all this shit adds up, you know. But yeah, bis were on fire. Tris was good. Like it was a good tricep workout, but the pump just wasn't insane. That's really all I'm trying to say there. So now all I got to do is go home and eat something. After I was done with that little grocery portion, I stopped at Subway, so That was about, I stopped at Subway, got a foot long, and I got a little bag of like baked Lay's chips. So that was 20 grams of carbs right there, 22 to be exact, and 4 grams of fat. And the turkey sub, I must have counted the protein. Let me try not to spill it while I look at the macros. Yeah, so I looked it up. The foot-long bread from Subway, 80 grams of carbs. And then I kind of just estimated the amount of mayonnaise that the guy put on it to be about 15 grams of fat. And then there's probably about 30 grams of protein worth of turkey, just from the looks of things. So, oh yeah, wait, I didn't even... So far, I'm doing good today. It's 6 o'clock. I've only had 938 calories. So, it's not like I'm trying to starve myself throughout the day, but I would rather be behind on the calories than ahead. Because if I was at like 2,000 calories right now, then that would mean I only have 500 left to eat before I go to bed. Whereas now, I've got 1,500. So that's, a 500 calorie meal, assuming I'm doing the low calorie stuff, like sweet, low, no sugar added barbecue sauce and stuff like that. A 500 calorie meal can fill you up. So I've got like, the equivalent of 3 meals left. I don't really go by meals, especially when I'm dieting. It's kind of just sort of a constant feed of food. But, it's like I don't plan my meals out. I go by the macros. If I'm hungry, I'll look to what I've got access to, grab what looks good. If I've got class for like, 3 hours straight, I'll stop at the vending machine and grab like a Quest bar or something. 22 grams of protein, 21 grams of protein, 8 grams of fat, 4 grams of carbs, I think. Something along those lines. I'll plug it all into my phone and then we're good. So, yeah. When I think about the volume training, the volume of my training, I'm kind of imagining myself, not right now, but in the final state, I kind of imagine myself as like eventually getting to a point where I can go in, let's say I have chest. Let's say it's a chest day. And I can go in and do my 2 sets of incline bench, my 2 sets of machine press, 2 sets of Smith bench, 2 sets of flies or something like that. And I'll just be able to know, like, okay, you know what? That was the perfect amount of volume and intensity. I'm done. Because, right now I'm sort of locked into a mindset of, like, preconceptions and convention. Because in my mind, it's like, even dropping it to 8 sets from the 11 I was doing, part of me is telling me like, no, do 11. Come on, you got a little more, do it. But what I really want to get to a point of in my training is like, I want to get enough stimulation, get that, crazy pump, and then be able to say like objectively and believe it to be true, like, okay, that was good. I've totally stimulated the muscle. I'm done. I am done. Because let's say I get to, let's say I did 6 sets of buys and I was fully pumped, felt stimulated, and 6 sets was for that day the perfect amount of volume. If I do 2 sets just because, then if I do 2 extra sets just because, then what did that really do for me? But this is kind of like this is like 1% margin style stuff. You doing your set of 10, you doing 10 sets of curls for buys and 10 for tries, dude, you're good. Like when I'm talking, this whole little talk I'm talking about, this is like, don't even fucking worry about it. Going to the gym, do your 8 to 12 hard sets of whatever for a specific muscle group, total for the muscle. I'm not talking about like do one movement and do 8 to 12 sets. I'm saying across all the movements you do for a single workout or a single muscle group in your workout, 8 to 12 is probably where it's at. And just go hard. Make the sets hard, get a pump. You're good. You're good. I'm kind of just saying that last little speech about the volume and calling the workout, that's kind of just, I'm sort of just talking to myself. But plan now is, I think I'm going to go home. I'm going to cook a pound of that 96% lean beef. Pour it into like a strainer to get all the fats out, or at least, you know, a solid amount of it out. Maybe I'll even like push into it with a spoon to kind of squeeze some of the extras, whatever. Pour that into a bowl. I'm not going to describe it because after this I'm going to pack my food. I'm going somewhere. But pour that in a bowl. Squirt a bunch of 0-calorie barbecue sauce into it. Add a bunch of that fat-free cheese into it. Mix it all together, kind of into a little bit of a sloppy Joe style mix. And then slap it between some of the keto buns. That's probably going to be for 4 sandwiches plus the keto, 4 sandwiches plus any of the leftover, you know, quote unquote sloppy Joe mix. That's going to be maybe 600 calories. And after I eat all that, I'm going to be fucking full. So I'll do a little cooking video next, but this is probably going to be the end of it for this one. Tomorrow's going to be legs, cardio in the morning as always. I think I'm going to go to a gym that has a specific kind of hack squat that I like. Because they also have good hamstring curls, but I kind of want to do a very specific machine, which, you know, the YMCA I was just at does not have, and neither does the Planet Fitness, which I have been known to frequent. So, you know, sometimes if I've got a membership to a gym that's like maybe 20-25 minutes away instead of, you know, 10, it's worth it to go there just for a specific machine I like, at least for me. But I am almost certain, actually I am certain, that it's going to be a solid ass leg day. So home, food, a little more food, probably a little more food after that. Then I'm going to try to get my ass to bed early and wake up early tomorrow for cardio. So I will see you next time.